everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching another episode of our How to Make a Super Awesome Scrap Wood Guitar. I am particularly excited about this episode because my good friend Mike Learn is here and he is going to be doing some paint work on this. Mike, I've been telling people, like, some of your, not like I have to, do street cred for you because you have so much of it, but like, I tell people, like, you remember when the Discovery Channel was the motorcycle channel? Mike was one of those guys painting all those bikes, and so you worked, I mean, how long have you been airbrushing? Since forever, right?
I've been airbrushing since 1975.
Wow. When you were 5 years
I
old.
was 10 years old. Yeah, I started airbrushing on model airplanes and model cars and model trucks. You couldn't do the cool shit with the tester's spray bomb, you know? So my mom and dad got me an airbrush when I was like 10 years old, a Binks single action that ran off of compressed air. You plug it into a spare tire.
Okay.
So a spare tire. A spare tire, man.
That's cool.
It was. Until you ran out of air and you had to roll the damn tire down to the gas station. Parents weren't around, so you're looking like an idiot rolling this big old freaking truck down the road. But the alternative was that canned air that they had at the time. Remember that shit?
Pavel?
Yeah. That was so expensive and ridiculous,
Yeah. I like the tire because it rolls down. You don't have to carry it.
Yeah, well, that's true, but the uphill part was
that's the bitch part.
Yeah, one way or the other.
But now, I mean, you have Mike Learn Airbrush, Mike Learn Guitars, Mike Learn Art Circus Airbrush Your Own Guitar classes, and it all started back in '75 with that one little model airplane or car brush.
It's my mom's fault. It's my mom's fault, and quite honestly,
you just went and visited her.
I did. I just went back to PA
nice.
and spent some time with her.
Cool.
But what really sold me airbrushing when I was a kid was I went to the mall one year for Christmas shopping. My mom took me, and there was a guy back in this store up in Erie, Pennsylvania, at the Mill Creek Mall called McCrory's, and he was airbrushing a Frank Frazetta mural on the back of a T-shirt,
like the Molly Hatchet guy.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was the one with the Frank's character, the Conan the Barbarian, like chained over a snake, and his arms are like chained over his side, and he's like sitting on top of the snake. Well, this guy, I watched him for 2 hours working on this thing, while my mom was out shopping. I didn't get any shopping done that night, but I sat and watched this guy. Boy, did I drill him. I was like picking his brain all night.
That's cool.
And I was only like 11 years old, 12 years old. And he's like, shut up, kid. Get out of my face.
Now, here's some more Mike Learn cred. Speaking of album covers, not Molly Hatchet ones, but you've done a Megadeth?
Yes, Megadeth.
Or two Megadeth ones?
Well, two different versions for the same album because the United States government censored the first one I did. And so I had to...
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They basically had to recut and kind of like... reformat the artwork for the stuff on military bases. And everything. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
A little bit of trivia for you.
Well, so you're going to be using some tricks and some techniques, but you're also going to be using some stuff that you will have for sale one day or right now, right?
Yeah, I've been kind of developing the idea with it. I just got so many different freaking
I know you've got all
things
kinds
going
of projects
on, but quite honestly, as you mentioned earlier, was like I do a bunch of different stuff. It's not because I have any other reason than I need to survive. That's I kind of adapt along the way too. So when one thing gets a little slower, I'll jump onto something else.
All right, I'll leave a link in the description below to how you can get in touch with Mike and buy some of the products that he has there. So tell us what we're going to do with this.
Well,
today.
we're gonna do a little bit of maybe more of a traditional '80s kind of style warbird paint job. We're going to be doing an RAF themed paint scheme based upon a British Mark II Spitfire, and it's going to have some drab colors, some nice colorful markings. We're going to distress it, make it look like it's been through a battle or two, taking a few hits, and have a little fun doing that. So
cool. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I know Chris is. So let's get started with the video.
One thing I don't like to do on stuff like this is cutting on surfaces.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? If you were to put like tape down on this and then cut, now all of a sudden you get this big ass cut mark.
That you have to do something with, right?
Yeah, what happens is it's always allowing this substrate to basically pull away from that cut. And so in like 8 months to a year, you might have that cut creeping back into your paint job.
We've had experiences like
I'm
that
gonna
with
start.
different woods.
So is that a special vinyl?
This is actually Avery Films, and this is a material that's called paint mask. And it's not as heavy. It's not as heavy as far as the tack on it. So it's a little thicker. Doesn't stretch. Like if you like normal like 2 mil vinyl, you put it down on the car and you try getting it off, it usually stretches. You'll never get it back. This stuff here is nice because you can put it down on the surface, pick it up, use it, put it back, and it retains its shape for the most part because of the thickness. The downside of it is sometimes you lock pieces of vinyl in your paint job and you don't realize it until you're buffing. So this stuff, again, I'm not worrying about getting completely opaque on here because it's going to be part of the whole thing when it's weathered. You know, it's going to have a certain look to it. So, all right, so we're just going to let that set for a couple of minutes, let it dry. This stuff does dry really quick. And if you're using, you know, urethanes, you know, it's always good to use a respirator if you don't have good air source. Fortunately, we're blowing it in on the Zumba class next door.
They're done.
Yeah.
so,
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So that's it, man. Now, see, if you had to cut all this out
On the
guitar,
yeah, that
by
would
hand,
suck.
and you had to re-register stuff,
Yeah.
like changing colors, you'd have a lot of issues with your paint job. There's just things that you just, you know, can't, or you don't want to have to deal with when you're doing this stuff. And when you're first starting out, that's the only way you know how to do this is with masking tape or masking and hand cutting it. But man, I tell you, once I started doing all this stuff pre-cut on masking, it just saves so much time, duplication. I started doing it for a lot of different reasons, but the function of cutting on that surface, man, it's just forget about it, man. It takes an awful skilled hand. Well, that's the nice thing about this stuff, though. It's so thin, you can see through it. I'm just going to kind of keep this controlled so I don't blow red all over my white numbers. And this is a real cheap airbrush. I mean, this is probably equivalent to a Harbor Freight airbrush. Nothing fancy.
No, it doesn't spit.
Well, it does if you don't, you know, if you don't mix your paint. Most of the time when an airbrush is spitting, it tells you your paint's not quite ready for the airbrush. Because they're really simple machines.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some black. Black will be the last color we'll do. Because I can leave that color in the gun. We'll be doing quite a bit with it throughout the project. I'm going to let that dry. Mix up another color. And this is a much nicer airbrush than the one I've been throwing the big color down with. So, yeah, it's still tacky. So we'll leave that. And I'm not worried about you trying to get this stuff like completely opaque. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep the thin film from building up along the edge. Keep that topography kind of down. And then, so I'm peeling back the layers of this now. I'm going to leave it taped up. I'm not wanting to peel back the teeth. I'm just kind of opening up that red there. Now what we're going to do is do like a shadow where the tongue would be kind of mouth. I'm going to do that simply with this.
I think it looks good to go as is.
Yeah, it looks like a psycho clown.
Yeah.
It's
Let's roll with it.
it's that's one of my favorite parts of these things is right now it's almost impossible to
Yeah.
see what's gonna be. It's like What is that?
Yeah. Alright, so that's all we really got to do there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go around the edge of the mouth. Just a little bit. A little drop shadow on the teeth. Let's give a little depth. Alright, I'm going to plug the airbrush so I don't knock it on the floor and end this broadcast real fast. Now we're going to go ahead and I got a little special tool just for this. It's out in the van. Here, these are those window scrapers. They sell them Walmart, Ace Hardware. Just scrape paint off of glass, and these things are great for getting up vinyl when you're working off the surface and you're trying to dig up a corner of vinyl. Razor blade has a tendency to always leave a scratch. This stuff here doesn't.
Is it plastic?
Yeah, it's plastic. The only problem is these things disappear just like razor blades do. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, you're always looking for that.
I mean, I get 200 of these single edge blades from my shop all the time, and then I'm always running out. I'm like, where the hell did the 200 go? You know? I don't remember sweeping up 200 of them. They just like disappeared. That and Sharpies, man. Black Sharpies. I'm always having to buy those in bulk. So one thing that you want to do periodically when you're painting this stuff is, depending on if you've gone to lunch break and had pizza, you want to make sure you get all the pizza grease off your hands and stuff, and so you're going to want to degrease from time to time. And I generally just do that at the end, unless, I see something that I missed. Maybe you can see a shine where it's a little greasy. But your hands do emit oil on their own without eating pizza. Kind of feel that graphic still has very little edge there, very little.
Now it looks like one of those sponge monkeys from the Quiznos
Yeah,
commercial.
somebody was saying psycho clown monkey. Sponge monkey. Yeah.
Remember them?
Yeah.
I love those.
They were awesome.
I learned how to play that song.
We love the moon! The funny thing is watching Mike do this, and it's like, oh, I could do that. And then it's just like getting tape to go in the right spot is it's impossible sometimes.
It's still, it never changes. I mean, no matter what your skill level is, it's something you always deal with. It's just learning how to deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's a part of it too, man. It's just a little shit like that frustrates people when they start doing this. They don't know how to overcome the little hurdles, And then when you're smacked with a big one, you're like, oh shit, what do I do now? But yeah, man. Being able to fix your mistakes, dealing with bumps in the road along the way, it's all part of learning, and we all suffer. Even to this day, I mean, we're all constantly learning, striving to improve processes, and so it never ends. The journey never ends. So now we can go ahead and peel the whole thing.
Ooh.
How about that?
So that's all the pretty well solid colors.
That's pretty much all the solid colors, except for we're gonna do the kill marks next,
Okay.
and from there we'll start doing all the rivets, bullet holes, detailing, all that stuff. But the primary markings are done.
Okay. Well, it seems like a good time to quit now that we're peeling all the tape off.
Yeah. Let's call it.
Done.
In fact, I should have. I got black. I need to spray this right now, so not to panic because I cut another one out. No, I didn't. Now it's time to panic.
Panic!
Let's see if I can recover that part of the eyeball here.
So this is
I'm doing the lines right now. split the panels,
Okay.
overlaps. I'm just putting them in pretty dark.
I'm like, what was that? What's that big black mark? Oh, that's where the pickup is. Duh.
Yeah.
You guys don't have a whole lot of this shit in your shop. I mean, really don't do a lot of custom paint on stuff. I mean, your paint jobs look great, and I'm not knocking you when I say that. Just
I know
that,
what you're saying.
You know?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of.
Yeah.
It's mostly wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. we do
I'm
a
glad
lot.
you're
A lot of
changing
brown.
the game up a little bit. I'm happy to.
Well, it's funny. The guitar that sold the fastest most recently was the one that you did the pinstripe work on.
Huh.
And I thought, hey, you know, our most popular video was the one where we made a guitar out of scrap wood, and our most popular paint thing was the one that Mike did. Let's do another one of those. And
Stick them together.
yeah. Okay, so this is why you want to have white and black at the same time.
because I don't have to.
Yeah.
You know? Because otherwise you'd have to come back in, clean your gun, you know, or move on and then retape it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a little black back on there, so.
I'm just gonna go live. This all seems like good stuff. Live 2.
How many rows of these things are you going to do, Mike?
Oh, we're gonna do quite a bit of them. We're gonna fill this up. We'll add a couple.
Because you figure a plane would have a...
Yeah, they're all over the
Huh.
place, you know.
Cool.
There's no, you know, every time you see a plane like this, if it took a big hit, there'd be a big patch panel.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
Or they'd have to, depending on what they have to do, they'd have to replace the whole panel, which sometimes would be, you know, quite difficult in the time schedule they might have, but sometimes they would just put square patches and rivet them in. And sometimes these planes were canvas, rather than metal too, you know what I
Okay.
mean? But, like the Mosquito, the British de Havilland Mosquito was a canvas balsa and spruce plane, actually.
That was in World War II?
World War II. It was a bomber. It was a very light bomber. Had a long
Wow.
range. But these ones here were aluminum and then aluminum skinned. So that's what we're going to be doing. So now I got this done. Just the basic shape of that. I'll just kind of show you a couple of cheap tricks.
This is one of the $79.99 tricks?
Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to keep in terms of the vertical movement. We're going to think in terms of stains that kind of run around, you know, where this thing just sitting out there. And right off the rivets, there's usually a little bit of a dust stain that pulls down
Oh, wow.
like that. So I'll do the stain first. Some will come down a little bit longer than others, maybe some a little darker. Usually a variable on that is if there's any gap between the rivet and the sheet metal. If they've worked their way loose, they'll allow dirt to collect in there and it'll stain a little harder. Another thing too we could do is we're going to show where the rivet is actually kind of tucked in, almost pulled the surface. Feels like the air pressure is down a little bit.
We might be.
Does it compress?
Might have too much.
Yeah. And just enough. Doesn't look like I'm getting it completely covered. I'm not worried about it being completely opaque. Kind of in the end, when we start doing all the distressing and all that stuff, you'll see that it kind of defeats itself. And keeps that film thickness down. That's the biggest thing for me, is to be able to not feel a paint edge, you know, when you're doing this stuff. And you can feel that, man. Check it out, man. There's nothing there. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, so the thing of it is, you got to get the viscosity of the paint just right. And I have a tendency to like under reduce it when I'm trying to get this type of low edge graphic and light film buildup. And it just makes it a little bit easier in the end, trying to clear this project without getting into multiple clearing
Cool.
sections. So now we got that out of the way, we can go ahead and carry on. What I'll do is one side at a time. What I do inside of Corel Draw is I draw this large rectangle and I do intervals with these 1/4 inch round dots, a certain distance off that, and I try to stagger them as I'm laying them down. So I'm going to go ahead and put another row just right through here. I'll use that. Just like that. Bring that around. Bring that around, and I got that little indentation taken care of right there.
Ah, yes.
So I'll go ahead and take this. You can reuse these things. That's what's nice. They're kind of like they're stable enough and sturdy enough that you can take them on and off the surface and reuse them. You just got to watch what you put them back on, what you put them down on, as far as the masking. You don't want to stick to a bunch of junk or the paper or anything like that. It will transfer the paper material to this, and then it starts to get a little bit loose and sloppy along that line. You want to try to keep this nice and tight and make sure that's pressed down really well. And if you have, dog hair, cat hair hanging from the back of it, a little pizza crust or whatever, whoops, wrong color. It'll keep that from tacking down nicely. I'm going to take this and cheat that a little bit, because the curvature of the guitar forces the mask up there. Nice tight line. And I'm going to go around the front here. What I try to do is wrap these lines around the sides of the guitar, and then I line up everything again on the back side and kind of reproduce that. So don't necessarily have to be that organized with it, because these panels are like so non-geometrically placed sometimes, and you see all sorts of odd shapes throughout the body of an airplane that's actually got aluminum panels.
I feel like I'm getting my own master class.
In a way, you are.
Looking over his shoulder. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Again, this is the kind of thing that you can watch it and it looks really easy to do, but being able to aim an airbrush is really tricky.
I think I was good up until he started doing like light stuff and shades.
Yeah.
Like I can spray solid blue.
We'll do a couple different distressing little techniques. This one's pretty cool though. No, not too many people have seen this one.
All right, this is you've seen it here first.
The 79.99 water trick. Oops, sorry, I got paint all over the place here.
That's okay.
Matt wipes glue all over everything.
I do. I smear all kinds of crap all over these benches. If you come to class, anyone watching, I'll teach you all my glue smearing techniques.
All right.
So what's in the spray bottle there?
This is just water.
Okay.
So all I'm going to do is just go light on the surface. I'm going to let it attach itself, but I don't want it to be like running all the way down it.
No way.
Back off the air pressure.
Okay. I don't. Let me see if
You
I
can
can.
barely see it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you do some more. I can't really see it on film.
Yeah, this really
I'll,
starts to really bring the surface to life.
Yeah.
We probably should open that door. We're going to be misting quite a bit in here.
Okay.
See anybody blow up. I'll get it.
I got it, Mike.
And it makes a difference as far as like how you're trying to present layers and stuff like that. So I do the bullet holes last, and I like it because it makes it look like the back side of the material was punched out by a bullet coming through from this direction.
The exit wound.
Yes, the exit wound. And so this would be a little lighter, wouldn't have a chance to necessarily discolor and age like the rest of the metal under the fatigue and stuff. So I start by putting in a little bit of white around these edges here, and then I'll take this guy here, put him right in the middle of that, bam, change out my airbrush, grab the black, go like that, pull that back. Now I'll come in here and actually shade these. And then we'll pull that off. And then we'll go a little bit of a shadow around the bullet hole.
It looks like metal poked through the.
It's awfully nice, Mike.
Right on. And we'll add a few more. Put a few more on these things. I have different stencils, different shapes, so just to not like, you know, somebody said, "Oh, you use the same stencil on all the bullet holes." When the bullet holes kind of be randomly different.
Yeah.
So I got the different bullet holes here.
Just to dissuade any of the smart Alex who.
Yeah. Right. And you can certainly cut these out to scale. I always kind of looked at this as being a 50 cal.
That's what somebody else just said.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking, wouldn't the Nazis have had like a 12.9 millimeter?
Yeah, they had a bigger round. They had a 209 millimeter cannon too.
Oh, I don't know. They had
Yeah,
some big stuff.
ass shit. Yeah. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna repeat the procedure that we did. I'm gonna go through it with you guys one more time.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Starting off with my white. You could do this with silver. The problem I found with silver, you start using silver like this, you get silver metallic everywhere, and you don't find about it until you put your clear coat on. You know what I'm saying? So I use this white, and I'll start to just put almost like lines as I go circular around. It helps set it up for the look of almost like a curled metal. So that's all I did. Then I'm going to come in here and put this right in the middle. And then I'm going to change out brushes real quick. Alright, then I'm going to peel that back. Now these are outies. We'll go do a couple innies too.
Innies?
Yeah, we'll do innies and outies.
Whoa.
Yeah. So if you can kind of picture the light kind of coming down from this direction, what I'm going to do is try to make it look like this is curled under like this, and I'm going to shadow the dark side. So you want to kind of be conscious of where you're putting this black color, and so I'm going to make it look like right there, because the light's up above, I'm going to flop that direction so as it kind of spins around, it looks like it's curled the right way. And I'm going to go ahead and peel that back now.
It really does look like a bullet. It's the damnedest thing. Well, a bullet hole, anyway.
And then some of the times you can make it look, well, maybe a puncture like an oil. You know, and you can have a little bit of fun with this at this point in time too. You can take the spatter technique a little bit more. You know, have that running down. You know, use them as your guide. Now we'll do a couple of innies. We'll do a few more outies too, but the innies are real easy. You just block them out like that. Pull that up to the side. Now you got to think of where your light source is. Like that. And I gotta get this brushes. Brushes give me a little grief.
Hey guys, it's been a few days since we made the video with Mike. And if you watched the live stream, thank you for doing that. There's a lot of really great information there. And, you know, we just sort of let the cameras go. I wasn't quite sure if they were going to be 10 minutes or an hour. As it turns out, it was almost 3 hours of hanging out with Mike and watching him paint this guitar. So if you have watched the live streams, thanks for doing that. If you haven't watched them and you want to see, you know, what goes into the paint job I'm about to show you, and more in depth from what you've already watched in this video, you can check those out on the Texas Toast YouTube page. But Chris and I have sprayed clear on the Mike Learn guitar, and I wanted to show you guys what it looks like all shiny and clear. We don't know if we're going to go with gloss finish or if we're going to knock this back. If we go with the gloss finish, we'll probably scuff it back and reapply clear just to get the right amount of clear on here so we can really level sand everything. One thing I would hate to do is burn through this guy on the buffing wheel and burn into Mike's paint. I don't want to do that. But I actually think it looks really cool, glossy and shiny like this. And if you have any ideas, please let me know. I probably won't listen to them, but I would love to read about them. Let's see. We got the first sealer course on our neck. Hey, I want to give you guys a pro tip. Here's the thing that we hold the necks with when we paint them. Now, actually, this goes in our paint stand that you have also seen in one of my very, very first videos. Was a super awesome paint stand made out of an engine hoist. Anyway, this is a paint stick holdy thing that we use, and one of the cool things that I forget where we stole it from, probably Fender, is we use these 1/4-inch standoffs, and they go right in where the screws will normally go for the neck. So there's only a 1/4-inch circle that on the back of the heel that doesn't get paint. So that's a really cool way to hold the old neck and make sure you get finish all the way around. What I guess I'm driving at is you could use a stick like this guy here, but it's quite a bit bigger. Anyway, so I wanted to show you the fingerboard is under that blue tape. It's not going to be blue. Someone actually thought that one time. So that's what the headstock looks like with its first course of sealer. We are going to paint the headstock a color, I think. It actually looks a little cooler now than it did when it was just plain. But I think we're probably going to go with some type of color finish on the headstock just to make the paint job on Mike's guitar look cooler. Again, it might be one of those things where sometimes you got to let the piece tell you what it wants to be. So that's going to wrap this video up. In future videos, it's probably going to be assembly time, and we should also absolutely have a video of us playing this guitar so you guys can hear what it sounds like. Maybe we'll go over to the Crash Pad Studio and let Bart give it a try. If you haven't checked out Crash Pad Studio, by the way, check out my good friend Bart at the Crash Pad. He's got a YouTube channel, and he does interviews with bands that come into the studio. And it's a really neat thing that he does, and he's a cool guy, and so check him out if you please. Links in the description below. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and wrap this one up. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like content like this, you might want to go over to our Patreon page and consider becoming a member. Even $1 a month goes a long way to helping us bring you guys cool stuff like this. And if you can't do Patreon, though, we totally get it. You can help us grow the channel by sharing this video as many places as you can possibly think of to do so. That helps us out immeasurably. This guitar is still for sale. I'm a little bit perplexed that I haven't gotten any more inquiries about that, but I think as soon as it gets put together, you guys will, like a light bulb will go off and you'll be like, oh. So anyway, until next time, this is Matt at Texas Toast reminding you that life is short. You might as well have a cool guitar. And if you're so smart, build it yourself. That's what I do. Thanks for watching, everybody.